Just before we get into this video, guys, if you want to follow me on social media, on Twitter and Instagram, the links are here. And if you also want to support me on Patreon as well and help out my channel, that would be absolutely awesome as well. But let's get on with the video. This has got to be easily one of the most devastating moments of my childhood. Hey guys, it is Wingy here and welcome to a brand new video. Now, as the title and thumbnail of this video suggests, today I'm going to be talking about a movie from my childhood that completely fucked me up for a good while. Now look, this video is just a bit of fun. Obviously I'm not going to say that this is actually the worst thing that ever happened to me when I was a kid, because obviously not. There's like deaths in the family and things like that, and I understand that other people will have similar things as well. So this isn't me making light of that, this is me just saying this movie, for what it actually is pretty fucking devastating for a kid in terms of, you know, it's a cartoon. You know, in the grand scheme of things it's not that bad, but I just thought it'd be interesting to talk about. So, Transformers the movie. Now, I'm not talking about the Michael Bay movies back when they came out, which was like, what, 2007 onwards? I'm talking about the original movie, the 1986 cartoon Transformers movie from the G1 era of the show. For those who don't know about this movie, then you might think it's a movie about robots that transform and fight each other. Like, how can it be that bad? However, if you saw this when you were a kid, yeah, you know exactly what I mean. So let me put this into perspective for you. So obviously this movie came out in 1986. I wasn't even born yet. However, as I was growing up, I was introduced to the Transformers franchise, but this was actually via Transformers Armada. So I was watching that, and whilst it does have some, you know, disturbing and upsetting moments throughout, it didn't really faze me. However, when I was a kid, there was a TV channel which the name of I genuinely can't remember anymore. It was a kids channel, but it was one of them kids channels that's like shite and nobody really watches them. It wasn't like a Nickelodeon or a Cartoon Network or anything like that. It was like a proper like channel 758, like that type of channel. By the way, it wasn't actually channel 758. I'm just saying, like, that's like a lower tier one, like near the porn, that type of channel, you know what I mean? Anyway, on this channel they were showing the original G1 cartoon featuring all your favorites, you know, your Optimus Primes, your Megatrons, your Bumblebees, your Starscreams, all of them. So this original cartoon from 1984, if you've seen it, you know that whilst the quality of the writing is pretty good, it can be quite cheesy in places. The animation is off a lot of times. It's like a typical 80s cartoon. Like, when you hear the word 80s cartoon, you kind of know what you're getting in for, regardless of what the franchise is. But nevertheless, I had fun with it, you know. Obviously, I'd previously watched Transformers Armada, so I kind of knew what to expect, you know. Optimus and Megatron leading the Autobots and the Decepticons and fighting each other. But in the G1 era of the Transformers cartoon, there were just so many Transformers, whether they were Autobots or Decepticons. It's like every episode they introduced a new one. So the purpose of this behind the scenes was because they wanted to sell toys. These Transformers cartoons were essentially adverts for kids to see robots that transform into trucks and jets and things, and then put them on their Christmas or birthday list for the parents to go out and buy. So if you have one that just appears in one episode, doesn't matter, because a kid's probably going to see it and go, oh my god, it turned into like a boat or a rocket ship or something. Mum, go out and get it for me. And that was the plan. It was genius marketing when you think about it. But it got to a stage where the show was just overcrowded. Like, there was too many Autobots, there was too many Decepticons. You couldn't really give certain characters moments to shine. You know, you couldn't basically advertise them properly. So after 2 series, they decided to make the Transformers movie. This is where it gets interesting. Now, from a marketing point of view, this is almost genius. I say almost, and I shall explain later. Because at the start of this movie, it starts off with Optimus Prime and Megatron and all the Autobots and Decepticons. It's set like a few years ahead now. I think it's like 20 years from like where the end of the last series ended off from. And we're introduced to more brand new Autobots and Decepticons. We meet Hot Rod and we meet Cup. There's an Autobot city on Earth, and then we go back to Cybertron and there's the Autobots moon base and everything seems well with the universe. I say that, but actually that's not the first thing that you see. There's a big planet transformer, Unicron. People who know Transformers don't know this already, but if you didn't, Unicron sort of comes in, who's a big planet-sized transformer, and he devours planets essentially. He's really fucking cool. And fun fact, in this movie he's voiced by Orson Welles. Yeah, Orson Welles, one of the most like celebrated actors of his generation. And this was actually his last ever role. Orson Welles' last ever film was voicing a talking fucking planet robot in a cartoon movie. End on a high. Why not? So anyway, we see the bits with Unicron, and then it goes to what I was saying before, you know, like everything seems peaceful and fine and whatnot. But you see the Decepticons snooping around, you know, seeing where the Autobots are going, and they find out that, oh, they're releasing a shuttle that's going to fly from the moon base to Autobot City on Earth. So it starts off with, you see a couple of the well-known fan favourite characters, Ironhide, Ratchet, Prowl, Hound, all on this spaceship. Next thing, the Decepticons come in and just gun them down in one of the most brutal ways for a cartoon. I'm not even gonna lie. I mean, it's a bit crude now looking back, you know, the way that it's drawn and animated, but put yourself in the mind of a kid like I was. I just seen some of these characters that I've been watching for ages just get gunned down and then die in brutal ways. Like Ironhide gets a gun straight to the face. Proud, his eyes just fade to black and then smoke comes out of him. Like, it's proper grim, especially for a kid watching it. So then the Decepticons take over the ship and they fly to Autobot City. As it's coming in, the Autobots realise, oh shit, it's the Decepticons. Then they attack, and then there's just like a massive brawl, and it has one of the coolest scenes ever for me. You've Got the Touch. Now, if you've seen the movie, you know exactly what I mean. If you haven't, it's basically this fucking amazing song that comes in as Optimus Prime is just driving through the Decepticon forces and just gunning them down, and he's just fucking sick. Like, it still gives me goosebumps now. I'm 23, and a cartoon movie from the 80s still makes me feel like a fucking badass. I don't know why. But then after that, Optimus and Megatron, they get into their final scrap, and they kill off Optimus Prime and Megatron. Kind of. Then after that, you see the damage of the war that's taken toll in this Autobot City, and there's literally so many fan favourite characters that their corpses are just lying around, like characters like Wheeljack, who is one of my favourites. Literally doesn't appear in the movie at all, except for seeing his corpse. Like, that's how little they gave a shit. And it's just staggering, because a movie like this, for a kid watching it, like, they've grown up with these cartoons, these characters, their stories, their personalities, how they get on with each other, you know, and just to see them all gone like that is just like, what the fuck? Now, I'm not going to say it's like Infinity War level of what the fuck, but it was just like, as a kid, I was just like, oh my god, like, how could they do this? How could they kill off Optimus Prime? And that's why I said before, almost, because they killed off Optimus Prime, there was actually a huge backlash. So much so that they had to bring Optimus back from the dead. Because people were just like, nope, fuck you Hasbro, fuck you whoever's making these movies, like, nah, we want Optimus back. And it actually hurt the toy sales. Because obviously what they were doing is they were selling new toys. They had a new toy line coming out, so they were just like, right, well, we'll just kill off all of these characters, bring in the new ones, and then just make more money. But obviously, like I say, it kind of backfired because people really fucking like those characters. But yeah, as a kid, this movie fucked me up. Like, I was in disbelief. I just couldn't believe it. I mean, obviously nowadays it doesn't seem as epic or as intense because, like I say, we have things like Infinity War and other series that kill off their characters all the time, like Game of Thrones is one. This is like the kid version of the Red Wedding, basically, or Infinity War, kind of. Not really, but it was to me as a 10-year-old. Let me know in the comments, guys, what do you think? What was the movie or the TV show for you that as a kid it just messed you up with how they did it? Whether it was this movie, because I imagine for some people they'll know exactly what I'm saying. Other people will be thinking, what the fuck's he on about? Why is he on about Transformers? But I am specifically talking about as a kid, so don't say stuff like the Red Wedding if you're like 38 or whatever. If you enjoyed this video, make sure you leave a like on it, subscribe for more. Social media links and Patreon, they are in the description. If you follow me on any of those things, I would love you forever. But until next time, guys, you take care of yourselves. Roll out. I'm talking about the death of a cartoon robot. I have people who love me for some reason.